Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a masterclass blueprint that's literally designed to completely engineer search visibility for highly technical content. So, if you've ever struggled to capture a real hard-to-please technical audience, stick around, because this strategy is exactly what you need. We're looking at how to position the unified Sigma platform as the absolute ultimate authority in autonomous, sovereign infrastructure. Let's get into it.
Now here's the ultimate question for any technical architect or developer advocate. How do you engineer an algorithmic binge for complex technical architecture, right? How do you take incredibly dense, let's face it, dry material and turn it into a captivating journey? Well, we're going to unpack the exact mechanics of retaining these technical viewers without losing them to those dreaded high bounce rates. It requires some serious precision, and as you'll see, a deep understanding of what technical audiences actually value.
Here's our roadmap for the Explainer today. We're covering the masterclass blueprint. Then, hooking technical viewers first, bridging physical to digital, strict production rules, and finally, triggering algorithmic binge watching. Consider this your insider's guide to turning a single click into multiple, highly valuable views.
All right, starting off with Section 1, the Masterclass Blueprint and Engineering Search Visibility.
The entire foundation of this strategy relies exclusively on capturing high-volume developer search terms. We are pulling in the right audience. Listen. We aren't looking for casual browsers here. We're targeting the developers, the engineers, the system architects who are actively out there searching for solutions. And there's a really critical reason for this kind of precision. Think about it. If you pull in casual browsers who bounce after, say, 10 seconds because the content is just too technical for them, the algorithm flags your stuff as irrelevant and literally stops showing it. High bounce rates signal to search engines that you just didn't deliver on your premise. So if you don't anchor your strategy in the exact terminology your technical audience is already typing into the search bar, your content is just going to float out there in the digital abyss. You absolutely have to capture the exact intent of an engineer trying to solve a specific problem.
Moving right along to Section 2, hooking technical viewers first, and specifically, we're looking at the critical first 15 seconds.
Getting this right follows a super strict sequence. Step 1, it starts right at the top with your optimized metadata, so your title and your tags, which captures that initial search query. Then, Step 2, you immediately move into a 15-second technical deep dive and system diagram. This is what prevents that massive initial drop-off. From there, Step 3 transitions the flow into your core narrative using the POISE framework. And just as a quick refresher, POISE stands for Problem, Options, Implementation, Solution, and Evaluation. It's a structured way to pace technical information so the viewer doesn't just get completely overwhelmed. And finally, Step 4, this all leads into an end-screen call to action to trigger that algorithmic binge.
So let's look at a really concrete example of that early hook. Here is the exact script from the blueprint. Today we are detailing the bridge mechanism that ingests physical legal titles and outputs regulatory-compliant tradable digital ERC tokens on an immutable ledger. Just to clarify, ERC tokens are simply the standard format for smart contracts used on the Ethereum blockchain. But notice what's happening here. By using this exact script in the first 15 seconds, you're dropping the viewer straight into a technical deep dive. There's no, hey guys, welcome back, no long, drawn-out branded intros with flashy logos, none of that. It's immediate, it's dense, and it instantly proves to the technical viewer that they're in exactly the right place. That is how you reduce those bounce rates we just talked about.
Okay, let's see how this builds into the core narrative in Section 3, bridging physical to digital with a focus on real-world asset tokenization. To actually build organic authority, your content has to directly answer some highly specific queries. We're talking about really dense search terms like RWA tokenization architecture layer 2, on-chain asset ledger ingestion, and smart contract compliance cross-border assets. Now, why does this matter? Well, because answering these hyper-specific questions signals to the algorithm, and honestly, more importantly to the viewer, that this is a real, advanced architectural deep dive. It proves you aren't just skimming the surface of blockchain trends, but you're providing the actual scaffolding a developer needs to build these complex systems.
The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that your content must focus heavily on specific architectural components. You have to completely avoid high-level marketing fluff. Seriously, ditch it. The blueprint demands a rigorous focus on the data ingestion pipeline, secure decentralized oracles, and the legal to digital translation layer. And that last part, super important. You really have to clearly explain how messy, real-world legal parameters are actually translated into immutable code. Think of it like a pact you're making with your viewer. You're saying, you give me your attention and I will give you the precise, unvarnished technical reality of how this system operates down to the smallest variable. You have to deliver the exact schematic of the bridge you promised. When you map out the execution level, the architecture has to handle complex physical realities with total certainty. Look at this breakdown. Real-world valuation verification is verified instantly. Title registration is logged securely on-chain. And programmatic compliance? That's executed right at the smart contract level. Walking a viewer through structured execution details exactly like this totally validates your authority. It gives them the concrete operational details they're actively searching for. You aren't just telling them it works, you're literally showing them the exact layer where the execution happens.
Moving over to Section 4, strict production rules and maintaining credibility.
Knowing what to say is honestly only half the battle. Developers have an incredibly sensitive radar for marketing tactics, so your visual delivery has to match the technical depth perfectly. The contrast in production style here is night and day. On the left side, things you absolutely must avoid: background music, stock imagery, generic advertising campaigns. Think about it from an engineer's perspective. When they see slick transitions and hear upbeat corporate music, their guard goes up immediately. They assume they're being sold to, not educated. Those elements completely break immersion and will instantly destroy your retention. Instead, look at the right side. You should rely heavily on clear code repositories, explicit block diagrams, and live terminal walkthroughs. A gritty, authentic terminal walkthrough speaks their native language. It proves you actually have your hands on the keyboard, building the thing you're talking about rather than just reading off a script.
And finally, Section 5, triggering algorithmic binge watching. This is the end screen strategy. This is where all that retained attention is converted into compounding momentum. You need an explicitly scripted call to action that forces a logical continuation. Consider using a prompt like this to close out your content. Now that the real-world asset tokenization design of the Layer 2 physical-to-digital bridge, watch the tokenomics of the altcoin implementing a triple-play economic engine next. I know, the phrasing is pretty dense, but this highly specific prompt gives the viewer a direct, completely irresistible next step in their learning journey. You are not leaving them to guess what to click next, and you certainly aren't letting them drift away to a competitor's content.
By seamlessly connecting the technical narrative of one topic directly into the next, you engineer an algorithmic binge-watching session. The goal here is straightforward but honestly immensely powerful. Turn a single organic search click into multiple highly valuable views. Over the last few minutes of your content, you've really earned their trust. You skipped the fluff, you provided deep architectural diagrams, and you spoke their language. Because you respected their time, they're primed and ready to invest more of it into your next deep dive. You are capitalizing on that earned trust to pull them deeper into your ecosystem.
Which brings us to the ultimate payoff of this entire masterclass blueprint: rapidly driving up your organic, non-paid public watch hours. Think about how search algorithms actually function. When viewers binge your highly technical series, the algorithm definitely takes notice. It registers the high retention rates, it measures those long session times, and it interprets those signals as a massive marker of exceptional quality. It then rewards that quality by actively pushing your content to even more high-value developers who share similar search patterns. This creates a perpetual growth loop, positioning the unified Sigma platform right at the center of the conversation, all without spending a single dime on paid promotion.
Now that you hold the exact blueprint for a sovereign infrastructure video strategy, from the crucial 15-second hook all the way to the explicit end screen, it's time to build your own bridge and capture your audience. So I'll leave you with this. What highly technical narrative will you construct to trigger your first algorithmic binge? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really can't wait to see the architecture you build next.